Software testing fundamentals. So whenever we test a software, what is the main goal, objective of testing? The first thing is to find errors, and the second thing is with minimum of effort. So finding errors in minimum effort, that is the time and effort should be less. For that, the software has to be testable. It can be your software, web app, mobile app, embedded software, real-time software. They need to be testable. The way we can test it should favor. James Back, he defines what is testability. That is the easiness to do the test. So he says software testability is simply how easily a computer program, a software can be tested. That means, in other words, a tester find it easier to test a program. So what are the different characteristics of a software when we say it is testable? All the software should have certain characteristics that will make that software or the system testable. The first thing is operability. This operability is the better the software is working, the more efficient or the more efficiently we can test it. Because when we are designing the software, when we are modeling the software, when we are making different the software development lifecycle phases, and we implemented the quality, that is, we always kept in our mind the quality. That means there will be few bugs, few errors, and these errors, they will not block the execution of test. So most of the test, first of all, the test will be less, the test cases will be less, and the result will be finer. The second is observability. What you see is what you test. Because test main problem is finding the error, locating the error, and fixing the error. So if you are able to see everything, that is the input what we give, it can give distinct outputs. So the state of your software, the variables, if they are visible, you can query them under execution. Even if the incorrect output is coming, you are able to identify it, you can analyze it, you can find out what error may be. And the internal errors which are so difficult to find, if they can be automatically detected and reported, that means your software has testability and especially observability. Controllability. If you are able to control your car's speed, then there is unlikely chances that you will meet any accident. Most of the accident happen when you have high speed. So here comes the same thing. If you are able to control your software, then the testing can be easily optimized and automated. Most of the time semi-automated. So if the software is under your control, that is, all the possible outputs can be generated through certain combination of input. The input output, the formats are consistent everywhere and they are properly structured. So the software and hardware states and the variables, they can be controlled directly by the person who is testing, that is the test engineer. This is the controllability. So test can be easily, conveniently specified, automated and reproduced because the software is under your control. So it can be tested with control. Very important aspect of your testability. Okay. Now the next thing comes is decomposability. When you can decompose, for example, you have some word. If you are able to divide it into some parts, you will be able to do them more easily, efficiently. So by controlling the scope of testing, we can quickly isolate the problems and we can perform the testing and retesting. See, the software system is built from different classes, independent modules, and when we are able to test them independently easily, then we can do the integration and the system etc. testing. Simplicity. The less there is to test, the more quickly we can test it. What does it mean? If the software is simple, the test cases are simple, they are less test cases. So the simplicity is all about KISS, keep it simple. If you are making even a complex software or a large software, if you are able to make it simple, for example, the functional simplicity, that is, the feature set should be minimum, which are bare minimum to meet the requirement. Putting everything which are redundant or not required is not advisable. Structural simplicity. If the architectural design is modularized, is compartmentalized, so this modularization will help in avoiding the propagation of faults. When the coupling is less, when the cohesiveness is higher, the structure is simple, then the fault may not propagate because of the interfacing. Code simplicity. If you have used certain standard to write your code, and this standard is known everywhere because we need to follow certain, say, IEEE or ISO some standard. For example, aircraft, MISRA standard is there. So a coding standard, if it is adopted, easily we can inspect and maintain the software. Stability. When your software is stable, that is, quality wise it is good, and the changes are less, because if it is good, there will be few changes. The disruptions for testing will also be less, will be fewer. If the changes, modification to the software are less, seldom, that is infrequent, they can be controlled when they actually occur. The existing test may apply, that is, it will not invalidate the existing test. Stability is important, and that only comes when it is being properly designed and properly coded with quality in mind. And the software, if it recovers well from any kind of failure, hardware, software, even, it is stable. Understandability. The more information we have about the software or the system, the smarter we will be testing. For example, if you are doing white box testing and if you know about what is going inside, then if some testing comes up with an error, you are able to solve it easily, quickly locate and fix. So the architectural design and the dependencies between all the internal, external and shared components, if they are well understood, then the software is testable. Along with this, the technical documentation, if they are easily accessible, they are well organized, like the design document, the requirement specification, the models, the UML diagrams, they are specific and detailed and accurate. So this technical documentation also helps in a good way to test the software.